We got Jimmy High Roller. History is repeating himself. I'm wondering what this is talking about.
Question. Has there ever been a player throughout NBA history quite like Nikola Jokic?
No, unless you got... Because Shaq wasn't allowed to dribble and play point guard. Because if he did that, he would have been benched instantly. Back in the 90s or early 2000s.
That can give you a quiet 30 a night, passes the ball like he's got eyes on the back of his head, and can dominate games without getting more than 6 inches off the ground. What about Steph? There's been countless great shooters throughout the league.
Look, that's what Mike Breen said about him. He rebounds like Moses, shoots like Dirk, passes like Magic.
Like he's got eyes on the back of his head and can dominate games without getting more than 6 inches off the ground. What about Steph? There's been countless great shooters throughout the league's history, but what about a shooter who can come off of screens and hit shots from 30 feet out while being chased down like a criminal? I've always wondered if players like these are truly one-of-ones, or if the blueprint for these
playstyle similar to Steph Curry
players was laid out years ago. But today,
dudes be face guarding me and whatnot. I told y'all, dudes be guarding me so much that even when they're on offense, they still guard me. Whoop-de-doo! I had to tell one dude one time at the gym, like, bro, your team has the ball. Why are you guarding me? Bro, I'm trying to tell y'all.
I found my answer. While doing some research, I found this website called Crafted NBA.
He turned around and said, okay.
Some of the most advanced NBA data available today. And with this data, they have created some interesting algorithms and predictive models. One of them being their historical similarity app. Within their database is every single season by every single player who played at least 500 minutes in the NBA since 1978. Choose any player, and the site will give you a complete scouting report with a bunch of stuff. Shot quality, free throw rate, offensive load, portability, a crafted offensive and defensive plus minus, and every other convoluted metric you can possibly conjure up. It gives every player a value for each metric based on their performance and then rates them based on where they rank compared to other players across the league. For example, Nikola Jokic is about as good as it gets when it comes to shooting efficiency, playmaking, and offensive versatility. Now,
Charles Barkley said it best, man. These analytics is not real. It's just these owners of teams giving their son-in-law jobs. And we say we're going to call it analytics because they're nerds. So you're going to create like a nerd job and call it analytics. Charles Barkley said it best.
Here's the catch. This algorithm takes all of these ratings and percentiles and compares them to their entire database to find the most similar player throughout NBA history. And guess what? There was a player like Nikola Jokic in the NBA years before he came into the league.
I know it is. Sabonis' dad. It was Sabonis' dad.
His name was Larry Bird. But I didn't just run Jokic through this similarity app. I ran it for Luka and Giannis,
T-Mac, Kevin Garnett,
and LeBron and Durant, and a lot of other
Mike
players,
Conley,
to
Larry
find the
Bird,
most similar players of the past,
Dirk,
to our biggest stars
Tatum,
of the present, and some of
Steven Jackson.
Their comparisons.
Kobe. Oh, young LeBron. Young LeBron. Cleveland LeBron. Young Cleveland LeBron.
Today's video is sponsored by ShipStation.
Bubba Max.
That's ShipStation.com.
How about Bubba Max?
Luka Doncic, an excellent player, can score, pass, rebound, but is he a one-of-one? We've seen these attributes and skills in many other greats of the past. Crafty, versatile, oversized perimeter players. For me, his doppelganger has always been pretty hard.
Call him doppelganger.
But what do the numbers say? Well, Crafted NBA's similarity app has the answer. And according to over a dozen advanced metrics that lay out the very specific and unique facets of Luka's game and production, he is actually most similar to a young Tracy McGrady, with a similarity score of 85%.
Well, I think Trey T-Mac was a ball. Luka's not really a ball, so I guess that's the only difference, I guess. And T-Mac's more athletic.
Specifically, a young McGrady in 2004.
But they say he probably like a young LeBron, too.
Luka is a better passer, and McGrady shot more threes relative to the league at the time. These two have striking similarities with their shot quality and offensive creation. Luka is a better rebounder, but defensively they fall within the same exact percentile of sub-average, with an offensive game that more than makes up for it. The next most similar players for Luka were 2005 Kobe Bryant, 2000 Grant Hill, and 2005 Mike Bibby. Now, Giannis Antetokounmpo has cemented himself as an all-time talent over the last half-decade. But similar to Luka, we've seen this player before. In today's league, it's difficult to find an appropriate comparison as physically imposing and athletic bigs have seemed to become a thing of the past. So that's where we'll go to find the most similar player. And I'm sure you can guess who it is. According to the Similarity app, the most similar player to Giannis is 2006 Kevin Garnett, with a similarity score of 85%. A phenomenal post scorer who also led the league in rebounding, was not limited to the paint but operated within it most of the time, and was one of the league's best, most versatile defenders with his length and athleticism. In fact, Giannis and Prime KG aren't just similar, they are almost identical, with offensive and defensive metrics that are almost impossible to tell apart. KG was a better shooter and rebounder, but every other metric is virtually the same, from their efficiency to their offensive versatility to their passing. The next most similar players to Giannis are 1993 David Robinson, 1993 Karl Malone, and 2002 Tim Duncan. Next, I wanted to take a look at a player who might actually be a true one-of-one. Steph Curry has taken a skill set that was crafted and polished by sharpshooters that came before him and perfected it. But who before him was the closest thing to what we see from Curry today? Any guesses? Here's a hint. It's the other greatest shooter of all time. If you said Ray Allen, you'd be correct. But not this Ray Allen or this Ray Allen, but this one.
The Bucks!
2001, young, flying around the court, pull up off the dribble Ray Allen. With the highest similarity score yet of 88%, Curry and a young Ray Allen expectedly share most things in common. Their all-time great shooting efficiency and shot quality, their offensive portability, and their—
How about Russ? I want to see someone on Russ. No one would show up for Russ because he's truly one-of-one. D-Wade even said it, man. He's truly one-of-one. We never seen a point guard like Russ before.
perfectly average.
Like, he's the most athletic point guard ever. You can't match that with anyone else.
Defense. Curry is a better playmaker and is capable of carrying a heavier offensive load, but their uncanny similarities as shooters and shot creators, and even defenders, makes them the most similar players to one another. Interestingly enough, the next most similar player to Curry is offensive juggernaut 2007 Gilbert Arenas, followed by 1998 Dana Barros and 2003 Chauncey Billups.
Big head
Next,
Billups.
I took a look at a player with the size and skills that we often see in all-time greats. The versatile
You would think T-Mac would be with Tatum, be similar to Tatum.
that is Jason Tatum. Similar to his
You just about freshman? I didn't know you eat those. You don't know you eat Tit Tat? Jimmy sponsored by GoPro? I know you use that.
contemporaries of the past, Tatum can do just about everything on the court at an elite level. He can score on all three levels, he can run an offense, has great defensive instincts, has the size and athleticism to turn most defenders into a mismatch. And when I think of these traits, there's a lot of players that come to mind.
Danny
But
Granger?
according to the Similarity app, the closest thing to Jason Tatum is 2010 Kevin Durant, with a similarity score of 83%. Looking at a young KD's metrics is almost like
Rashard
looking
Lewis?
at some 2K creation
Y'all born in 2010, 2020. Y'all don't know nothing about no Rashard Lewis, man.
with maxed out stats. Offensively, he didn't have a weakness, and his defensive metrics suggest he was fairly underrated on that side of the ball. And although not quite as staggering, Tatum's metrics paint a similar picture. A great shooter who can get to the line at will and can carry a team with his versatility and ability to create offense. The next most similar players to Tatum are 2007 Rashard Lewis, a young 2004 Tracy
I was thinking.
McGrady, and one of my favorite niche borderline stars of the 2000s, 2009 Danny Granger. Next, I wanted to take a look at one of the most polarizing stars in the league today, and a player with a game reminiscent of some of our favorites from the past, Ja Morant. When I watch Ja play, I can't help but to see a lot of young Derrick Rose and Russell Westbrook. It's the obvious comp, the springy, fast-twitch guard who can get to the rim whenever he wants, while keeping his elite playmaking skills intact. But what do the numbers say? Well, according to the Similarity app, the closest player to present-day Ja Morant
2002
is
Kobe?
actually a young Steve Francis with a
Evie?
similarity
They compare Ja to Stevie?
score of 83%. Both Morant and the franchise have questionable shot selection and are quite limited as stars in their specific role on offense. But they make up for it by being elite at that specific role, keeping defenses on their heels by getting to the line at an incredible rate despite their size. Excellent
Can't wait to see you back on the court, Ja.
rebounders and among the best at carrying an offense and creating open
Look,
looks
look
for
at
their
his face.
teammates.
He look ready.
Of all the
He
comps
look
I've heard
ready.
for Ja Morant, a young Steve Francis maybe came up once or twice, but it's a great comparison. And the numbers
Look at 2010 Tyreke Evans. This man won Rookie of the Year, bro. He averaged 25 and 5.
would agree.
2008 Roy.
Next
Raymond
most similar
Sessions.
players to Ja are 2002 Kobe, 2008 Brandon Roy, and 2010 Tyreke Evans. Now, thinking of comps for this next player has always been a tough task,
KD?
since he has been truly
They say Larry
a
Bird.
unicorn of a talent for the last decade and a half. And that's Kevin Durant. When he rose to stardom 15 years ago, there wasn't a single player like him. Fast forward, and to this day, there still isn't a single player quite like him. But if we are looking for size and an incredible shooting touch and elite offensive versatility, specifically
Is Curry gonna be on Larry Bird or Dirk?
akin to this older, more efficient version of Durant that we see today, then look no further than 2010.
What I tell you? What I tell you?
Who revolutionized the power forward position with his shot-making
You
ability
can't fool me. I'm familiar with your game.
and has a similarity score of 84% with Kevin Durant. And across the board, Durant and Dirk share eerily similar offensive and defensive metrics. The main differences are Durant's absurd shooting efficiency and the fact that he handles the rock a bit more than Dirk did, which leads to a higher turnover percentage. But outside of that, they're a match. Big guys who can score on all three levels at an all-time rate, possess guard-like skills to be the centerpiece of an offense while maintaining the integrity of their 7-foot frame with rebounding and switchability. The next most similar players are 2011 Paul Pierce, 1987 Kevin McHale, and 1989 Tom Chambers.
Chambers.
And for our last player,
LeBron
we have a player that has
James.
spent his entire career getting compared to a guy who plays nothing like him. In terms of success and greatness, LeBron and Jordan are the obvious yin and yang. But in terms of play style,
Yeah,
and
they're
on-court
different.
metrics,
Way
they aren't very
different.
similar at all. One is a jack of all trades with playmaking instincts. The other is a two-way pure scorer. To find the most similar player to current-day LeBron, we have to look for size and passing and an all-around
Rasheed
scoring
Wallace?
package, which, according to the Similarity app,
Tony
is
Cooper.
1988 Larry Bird, with a similarity score of 84%.
Bird!
Now, looking at Prime Bird's metrics, you would think I made a mistake on this graphic, but I didn't. He was just that good. Virtually no weaknesses in his game, reaching at least the 95th percentile of all players in the league in the majority of these metrics. And although current-day LeBron isn't quite on this level, a 38-year-old LeBron remains one of the league's premier do-it-all players. The metrics suggest Bird was more efficient offensively with a low turnover rate and league-topping shot quality. But it's their offensive bandwidth, playmaking and passing excellence, and overall malleability where both LeBron and Bird find their real value. The next most similar players to current-day LeBron are 1996 Tony Kukoc, 2001 Rasheed Wallace, and 2005 Vince Carter. But this version of LeBron and this version of LeBron are seemingly two different kinds of players. So
Yeah,
what
I would say
happens
so,
if
too.
instead of plugging older LeBron into this
Put young
similarity
LeBron?
app, we search for the most similar players to a young LeBron?
How about the Heat
Well,
LeBron?
Our results change drastically. The most similar player to a 23-year-old LeBron is 1992 Scottie Pippen, with a
Pitt!
similarity score of 87%. An elite defender with the size of a forward, the playmaking skills of a point guard, and the athleticism to get to the rim anytime and put pressure on the defense from anywhere
How
on the
Pippen wearing Jordans?
court. The next most similar players to a young LeBron are 1997 Grant Hill, 2002 Tracy McGrady, and 1992 Clyde Drexler. And that is 8 players and 9 of their most similar comps throughout NBA history, according to the numbers. Now, one of the most interesting things I discovered throughout this process is that
You gotta
some
do Russ, Jimmy. Where's Russ? You gotta do Russ too. Do Russ now. Do Russ 2017. Do Russ 2016. Come on, do Russ.
players of the past came up time and time again. Players like Dirk, McGrady, Grant Hill, KG were found to have a lot in common with many of the stars in today's league, confirming what we've all thought for years. These guys had the tools and the skills way ahead of their time and had a play style that not only thrived in their era, but would thrive today as well. McGrady had metrics similar to Luka, LeBron, Tatum, and even some other guys I ran through the app like Anthony Edwards. Dirk and KG were similar to every star big I ran through the app, like Jokic, Embiid, AD, and Giannis. These guys excelled in a much different league 15, 20 years ago, and the metrics and similar scores suggest they have become the blueprint for most dominant big men in today's league. A testament to the path these two paved and just how much they changed the game. So there it is. What do y'all think? Are these comparisons accurate, or do the metrics need some adjusting? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.
They need adjusting for Ja. They need adjusting for yeah, that's probably it, just for Ja. And yeah, do Russ.
And as always, until next time.
WV or Jimmy Hiro. With all that being said, every player is a one-on-one. They're special in their own unique way, just like you.